wanted to give some information about an officer-involved shooting, a deputy-involved shooting that happened this morning at approximately 0600 hours, 6 a.m. on July 28, 2017. Deputies with the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Department responded to the area of 2nd Street and I-25 to assist the Isleta Police Department with a subject apparently trying to steal golf carts. Upon arrival, deputies received additional calls for service. At this time, they received calls for service of burglaries in progress and possible home invasions. As deputies were responding to the residents, they heard a window breaking nearby at another resident, and they responded to investigate. A perimeter around the residence was set up when a garage door opened, and they observed what appeared to be an offender and two hostages inside the vehicle leaving. As the subject was attempting to flee, they could see the hostages there in the vehicle, and they were screaming for help, banging on the window. At that time, deputies attempted to stop the vehicle, and the driver drove directly at one of the deputies on foot and pinned him in between his vehicle and a light pole. At least one deputy discharged his firearm. The deputy was transported to a local hospital to receive treatment. We received a little bit of an update on the deputy. He is doing fairly well, especially considering what he went through. He has possible sprains, a fractured toe, maybe possible head injuries, and unknown if any internal injuries are existing right now. The deputy, again, was transported, and the offender was pronounced dead on scene. At this time, if you have any questions I could answer.
Do we know who the suspect is, or can you release their identity at this time?
We can't. There's nothing right now that we can release on the offender right now.
What about the two hostages that were in the car?
Their status update, and I'm glad you asked, their status update is they're okay. They're shaken up tremendously. I'm sure it was a traumatic event for them, and but they're okay. They're not harmed right now.
And were they adults? Sorry.
Were they in the vehicle the whole time leading up to the shooting after leaving the house?
At this time, I'm not able to give specifics because the deputies haven't been interviewed, and there were a few deputies on scene, and they need to be interviewed before we can answer those kind of questions.
Were the people that were kidnapped, were they adults? Were they children?
They were adults.
Both adults? Okay.
I apologize. When this man broke into the house, how long was he in the house before the garage door opened?
You know what? At this time, again, we don't know exactly how long he was in there, but he was long enough to get in there, get their keys, and proceed with them, force them into the vehicle, and proceed outside to where our deputies were waiting.
Do you know did he break into any other homes?
I know that we got separate calls for service, but at this time I can't confirm it.
What was he armed with?
All we know at this time is he was armed. Again, we have to interview the deputies and make sure that that they tell their version of events before we can explain it to you guys.
And was it prior to the kidnapping that he had tried to break into the ex-police officer's vehicle? That's what we had read in that release.
Say that question again.
There was an ex-police officer's vehicle that he, I guess, had attempted to break into his car. Or
again,
car.
there was several calls for service surrounding the same individual, and we're trying to investigate each one of those right now. So it's hard to tell exactly what took place without interviewing the deputies, and we are going to be doing the interviews with the deputies shortly, within the next few days.
How far was where this all ended, where the shooting happened? How far was that from the home that he broke into and took the hostages?
It was again, I can't tell you specific how many feet it was away from the residence, but it was a little bit away from the residence. Yes.
I'm assuming the suspect didn't know this house or didn't premeditate this plan. He just saw police or deputies and just ran straight to the house.
He did not know the victims. No, he did not. So it was a home invasion, but it wasn't somebody that he had known prior.
The deputy that was hit, was he the one that fired?
I can't give you that information. Again, we're trying to, we need to interview all the deputies before we get to that conclusion.
And again, can you just talk about how he's doing? And I assume you're relieved that he wasn't more seriously hurt.
Yes, absolutely. We went and we went to go see him at the hospital. He's recovering there at the hospital. He's very shaken up, very traumatized by this event. You could just imagine yourself if you were struck by a car. It's a very traumatic situation to him, and not just him, but his family, all the law enforcement community, and we appreciate all the support the citizens of Bernalillo County and Albuquerque has extended out to us already through social media.
I know you guys can't identify the suspect yet, but can you say if it was a male or a female, and if this was someone that was known to law enforcement?
Unfortunately, we can't. We have to notify next of kin, and that hasn't happened. It's still in the preliminary stages of this investigation, and we're trying to weed through all those facts.
The deputy that fired at the suspects, was he involved in any other officer-involved shootings in the past?
Not that I am. Well, let me say this: when we get that information, we will release it to you. So it's unknown at this time, but I can't confirm that right now without checking his file and checking out to see if he'd been involved in any other situations. So let me just go ahead and state that it's unknown at the time, but when we do get that information, we will release it to you guys.
Where was the suspect stealing the golf carts from?
Isleta, I believe Isleta Casino, maybe possibly. You'd have to, I'd defer to Isleta Police Department in order to answer that question correctly.
So you don't know if he actually drove off in one of the golf carts or anything like that?
That's unknown.
Okay.
The call we got was that they're looking for a subject that was attempted or had possibly already taken a golf cart.
Can you confirm how many officer-involved shootings there were this week for BCSO? I thought it was 2.
There's been three officer-involved shootings this week. Yes.
Is that something you guys talk about with the deputies? I mean, I'm sure when there's so many, it can be a little more taxing on you guys.
Absolutely. I talked with the sheriff this morning, and he said that he is extremely alarmed at the amount of violence that's plaguing the city, and that unfortunately it's also violence against law enforcement and the citizens of Bernalillo County. So we're all aware of it. The sheriff and myself went out on Graveyard last night, and we talked with the deputies, speaking with them about their concerns, about our concerns, about their safety. And we know and understand that we're number one in the nation of stolen vehicles. We're number one on a few lists we probably don't want to be number one at. And we know this, we understand it, but it's not stopping our deputies from doing their job. It's not hindering our deputies from going out there, making contacts, making sure that the citizens of Bernalillo County and Albuquerque are safe.
And are any deputies on leave because of the shootings?
Yes, there are. There are deputies. I can't tell you exactly how many, but we're still working those facts out.
When do you anticipate being able to release some more information about the suspect?
I can definitely tell you that if the interview with the deputies are conducted sooner, we can give you information after they're interviewed. If not, we can see if we can determine if the next of kin has been notified, and if so, we can see if we could determine if the investigation won't be hindered with us releasing his information. You guys have any other questions?
Good, thank you.
Can I say one thing? And I really want to say this, and it's truly from the sheriff and from my heart. We want to give the condolences to the family. We understand that this subject did something really bad and harmful to our deputy, but we still want to give our condolences out to his family. A loss of life is a very tragic event, and no deputy wants to be a part of that. They don't want to be a part of having to take someone's life. So I want to give my condolences out to his family, and I also want thoughts and prayers to go out with the deputy's family and to the law enforcement community. Thank you very much.